So last week, I made a video that was titled Avoid This Mistake While Manifesting, and it was also called Manifest Like a Boss in 2025 by Not Doing This. And the video predominantly talked about having affirmations that do not imply that you have what you want. It talked about many different topics, gave many different examples, but there seems to be a significant amount of overwhelming confusion about what to affirm, and there were a ton of questions. So you're going to want to stay tuned for this because I'm going through a bunch of subscriber questions that were specifically asked about that video. So sit down and get ready. You're going to want to stay tuned. Hello everyone and welcome to another rousing episode of Spill the Tea Tuesday. My name is Flossie and I consider myself to be the funniest, wittiest mindset coach as well as your OG Hype You Up Rampage Queen here on YouTube. If you want one-on-one coaching with me, links are going to be in the description box below. And you know what? My email coaching is back up. If you want email coaching, check out the website because there is some there. Nikki and I are going to be having some amazing courses that are going to be crash courses towards the end of this month. One for SP, one for money. I know a lot of you guys have been especially wanting the money one, and that is coming up. So you're going to want to keep your eye out for that because we want to have you be the most successful and make 2025 your bitch and just be getting all your shit in 2025. But you know, the first thing that I do in every video is my calendar. So this says, have a cup of fuck offie Monday. You know what? Sounds like someone's in some victim mentality to me, unless of course you're just telling the 3D to fuck offy. That's totally fine as to do. This says handle your fucking business. Yeah, by affirming and persisting like a boss until what? Your 3D reality conforms and you get your shit. Guess it's time to make some damn resolutions. You should have already done that kind of late in the game there, bro, being January 8th. You know, one of the biggest things I talk about is getting clear and knowing what you want. And then that way you can affirm and persist for it. If it were easy, every dumbass would do it. Manifesting is so easy. I don't know why everybody just doesn't do it because you don't have to be a rocket scientist in order to manifest, period. And keep in mind, when I'm reading these are literally backwards for me. When I have it up here, it is literally backwards that I'm reading. Still fucking writing 2024 on everything. I'm actually not, don't care. But I still love my calendar, even if it has things that are silly. And this says, bitch, please, 3D, please, step the fuck aside, because I don't give two fucks about you hardcore facts. So now I'm going to pull up the pictures that I took of the people's questions that had to do with the video that I made. One person asked, for a house affirmation could be, I love my new house. Yes, it could. I also might consider affirming things like, it was so quick and easy to move into my new house. I love living there. But, you know, you could use, I love my new house. I just would probably also mention how quickly and easily that you got into it in the first place. Another person asked, should I change the first affirmation, get rid of it? And then she listed he or she listed these affirmations. Everyone knows he is in love with me. Why is he so obsessed with me? He only wants me and is doing everything to be with me. I don't care if you say everyone knows he's in love with me. I probably would, unless that's like a core issue for you where people don't know about it. Maybe you say that everyone's so happy you're together or everyone approves of your relationship or everyone accepts your relationship. But, you know, you can say everyone knows he's in love with me if you want. If that's truly an issue for you. Why is he so obsessed with me? You know, there's nothing wrong with that. He wants me and is doing everything to be with me. So if you're saying he only wants me and that's making you think of third parties are being triggered, I would leave that alone. And if he's obsessed with you, he already wants you. A lot of times if someone's obsessed with you in a romantic way, they're going to want you too. That's kind of implied. So, I mean, it's not necessarily to say that he wants you. And I already addressed the only part of it, if it's triggering you or thinking of a third party. As far as he's doing everything to be with me, does that to you imply that you're together? Because that to me does not imply that people are together. It's like, you know, he's trying to do everything to be with you, but like not with you yet. If you want to say that he's doing everything, you could say he's doing everything to make our relationship perfect. If that is important to you, that he's doing everything, but he's doing everything to be with me, to me doesn't imply you're together. Another person wrote, one thing that's driven me a bit crazy is my mind is changing affirmations like SP's my husband, or we're dating, or we're engaged, or he's proposing to me any minute, or I'm in a happy committed relationship with them. I tend to do what feels good at the time. So even in a good state where I feel it real, I'd be happy with any or all the above. Does it matter if we mix it up? I wouldn't mix it up. So you can change your affirmations, but in general, I say to have your affirmations imply the same thing, or at least not contradict. Like, you can affirm that you're in a happy, committed relationship, or that they love being your boyfriend, partner, significant other, while you're also affirming that he's proposing to you any minute, or, that he's so happy that he's proposed to you, because you can be in a relationship and just have been proposed to. I wouldn't necessarily go back and forth about, husband or dating or engaged. Like, I would pick a lane and I would stay there. And then I would make sure that whatever affirmations I used in addition to that did not conflict. You can be in a relationship while they're proposing to you, or while, they're happy that they've proposed to you, because that would still be a relationship. You wouldn't be married yet, but I would not go flipping back and forth. It's not that our brains are stupid. It's just, it would be like affirming different steps all the time. Sometimes people feel like, it's what your assumption is around it. And a lot of people have the assumption that their mind is like, what do you really want here, when you're affirming a bunch of different things when you don't have any of them. So I try to have my clients to not contradict as much as possible, so that they just stay focused on what they want, and so that they're not swapping a bunch of their affirmations either. So your conscious mind is the one that knows what you're talking about. And then when you have a dominant thought, it goes to your subconscious to manifest. But if you're not picking a lane, some people have the assumption that that's going to be confusing. I mean, obviously, if you're affirming the very end goal of him, being your husband, and you're affirming marriage, you would eventually manifest that. Your 3D would eventually conform to that. While I think that people can switch out affirmations, I do think that you will get impressed faster, in my opinion, and saturate your mind faster if what you're affirming is along the same thing. So, you need to pick a lane. To me, that would be my thought on it. I would pick a lane is what I would do, so that you can get yourself impressed the fastest. Hey Flossie, how to affirm with debt? Because if I say I'm debt free, then I remind myself of it. What can I say? How about I'm financially free? If you're financially free, guess what? You aren't likely to have much debt, because the very definition of being financially free isn't carrying debt. It's having freedom from the debt. It's having the freedom to do what you want. You can also affirm, and that can be part of self-concept, by the way, because it's an I am statement. You can also affirm things like, I've got more money than I could ever spend. That would also imply that you don't have any debt, because most likely if you have more money than you could ever spend, you wouldn't be carrying debt either. Another question, I affirmed SP is ready to settle down with me, got the text and didn't hear from him, almost put me in the mental hospital. So just want to say real quick, if you're struggling, don't forget to call like some sort of helpline or suicide helpline. I have some information in the description box of all my videos, but don't allow your mental health to get too affected during your affirming process. Try to avoid that as much as you can, even if you're affirming that you're the happiest you've ever been, or you always feel safe and secure, or you feel positive at all times or something. But moving forward, first of all, don't put any SP or any manifestation so far on that pedestal that when the 3D isn't conforming right away, that it's going to put you in the mental hospital. Affirm for yourself and your manifestation abilities. Affirm that you're like a strong, powerful version of yourself. Having said that, SP is ready to settle down. Okay, they're ready. That doesn't mean they're settling down. It doesn't mean they're doing anything. If, in the previous video, I said to not use affirmations, or I don't recommend using affirmations where someone's like, SP's ready or SP wants. Who gives a fuck about that? They can want it or be ready for it all day long. It doesn't mean they're doing anything about it. So here's another one. What about SP is calling me to come home right now? He's my perfect boyfriend. Perfect boyfriend is umbrella for my list. I don't think there's anything wrong with using perfect boyfriend and having that be an umbrella. But SP's calling me to come home right now? Why the fuck would he be calling you to come home right now if you had what you wanted? If you had what you wanted and you or SP were together, they wouldn't be calling you to come home right now. So I would personally think that for me, if I had a client say, and that's what they were affirming, what I literally would tell them is, why are you reminding yourself of the old story every time you affirm? Because if you had what you wanted, you wouldn't need to remind yourself that he's calling to come home, because he would already be the fuck home. So I would scratch that. period. If you want to say he's constantly calling you and texting you and he's blowing up your phone and he's a perfect boyfriend, fine. If you want to say that you guys are in an amazing relationship and he's your perfect boyfriend, fine. But he's not calling you to come home right now because he's already at the fuck home, period. Someone asked, trying to manifest large sums of money out of thin air. So, I mean, you can literally have that be your affirmation. I'm always manifesting large sums of money out of thin air. Large sums of money is always falling in my lap. I'm always getting large sums of money out of the blue. I don't have to lift a finger and I get tons of money. So, you know, you can literally either use thin air or just that you are having tons of money always coming to you, period. Hey, Flossie, if you only use their pronoun in the affirmations instead of their name, will it still work even if we're manifesting multiple SPs? So when my clients are manifesting multiple SPs, I suggest, of course, that they affirm for those people separately. And that maybe at least in one affirmation use their name so that they're focused on that person and not focusing on any of the other SPs. Because you have to keep in mind when you are looping your affirmations, who are you thinking about? If your mind is jumping back and forth between a bunch of different SPs, you're sending mixed messages to your mind. Because remember, it's your dominant thought that manifests. And if your dominant thought is a jumbled sack of mess, what are you going to get? A jumbled sack of mess. I think there's a lot of people out there that quite honestly don't understand the very basics of manifestation. And I wish, and maybe I need to affirm more, that people actually watch my videos or another coach's videos like Sammy Ingram, like who I coach for, or Nikki's videos or Mama Mermaid's videos where we explain like how manifestation works. But a lot of people don't, and then they are not understanding some of the very basics. Your conscious mind is where you have the free will to choose your thoughts. And your conscious mind is where you're generating the thoughts purposely for what you want to manifest. When your mind has a certain level of a buy-in, that what you're thinking or affirming could possibly be true, it goes to the subconscious to manifest. But it's your dominant thoughts. So if you're getting bullshit in your 3D reality and you're like, I don't know where this is coming from, is your mind clear on what you want? Are you clearly affirming for what you want? Are you flippity-floppiting back and forth? Do you have one foot in one thing and one foot in another? And your mind is just kind of like, I don't really know what she wants here, but her dominant thought is this jumbled pot of stew of weird ass shit, and now that's going to go to the subconscious to manifest. See, because your subconscious doesn't know fact from fiction. It doesn't know truth from a lie. It only knows what you tell it. So if you are giving it a jumbled hot mess of a bunch of trash in a bucket, that is what you're going to get. So if you're going back and forth on SP, if you're not clearly affirming and persisting for what you want, if you're affirming for, I want SP 1 minute, now I don't, SP doesn't want to be with me, they don't want to be with me, but yes, they do. That's where hot and cold behavior comes from. It's like, you got to realize that your subconscious only literally knows what you tell it. And so if you're telling it a big jumbled mess, that is what you're going to get, is a big jumbled mess. When you're affirming for these multiple specific persons, I would suggest you do it separately, and that maybe initially say their name so that when you're affirming for whatever you want with that SP, you are attaching them to those affirmations. When you're not clearly affirming for what you want and you're confusing your own conscious mind to the point that the dominant thought that you create is a bunch of rubbish and it goes to the subconscious and manifests. That's where you get a jumbled up sack of shit in your 3D reality. And then those are the same exact people that complain, well, I'm not getting what I want. Are you even clear on what you want? Because your subconscious doesn't know the difference. Moving forward, I've been affirming I'm working at blank place. I'm hired. I love my new job. I feel like these are good affirmations, but it's hard to stay in the state of this. Is my job like in the 3D looking at other jobs and trying to remind myself, nope, I have a job. You're just describing everything that everyone describes when they're manifesting. So when we are consciously manifesting and we're affirming for something, 90% of the time, that's not what the fuck our 3D reality looks like. Otherwise, we wouldn't be affirming for it in the first place. We are often affirming initially the polar opposite of what we're experiencing. So it doesn't matter if it's an SP, a money, or a fucking job. We typically don't have any of those things. Otherwise, why would we be affirming for it? Period. So if someone doesn't have an SP in their 3D reality and the 3D reality is showing them that they're no contact, guess what? They don't sit there and acknowledge that no contact 24/7. They keep affirming and persisting. If someone's manifesting money and you don't have money right then in the 3D, you're not going out and buying a damn Bentley when you got 2 nickels to rub together. Why? Because you know that you couldn't afford it, because you're manifesting the money. If you're manifesting a job and you're affirming that you have this amazing job, that you were hired, that the job was so easy for you to get, that you love your new job and you're applying for jobs, that is the same thing as the other 2 scenarios. You apply for the job, that you feel inspired to do so, while affirming and persisting that you have a new job, knowing that your 3D reality will conform. So when you apply for the job, apply for the job. And then the minute that you're done, go back to, in your mind, you have the perfect job that you want, getting paid huge amounts of money to do what you love, period. It's just the same process for everybody. Of course, you're applying for the job that you don't have yet, that you're affirming for. That is the same thing for everybody who's manifesting 9 times out of 10 before their 3D reality conforms. The 3D looks like shit. They don't have what they want. They're affirming and persisting for it. Doesn't matter what the topic is. It is all the same. You ignore the 3D the best you can while you keep affirming and persisting, and that's it, period. Please kindly make a new video related to manifesting large sums of money out of thin air or some wins. Please pass some affirmations, best wishes. Well, I kind of gave some ideas already. First you want to have some self-concept around having money. I'm rich as fuck. I'm rich as fuck with millions of dollars. I'm wealthy. I'm exceptionally wealthy. I'm the very definition of abundance. I'm a multi-millionaire. I'm financially free. And then if you want money out of thin air, get large sums of money out of thin air. Money's always falling into my lap. Money's coming to me from all sources. Money's always coming to me from all directions. I have more money than I could ever spend. I always have at least $1 million in the bank at all times. I get tons of money without lifting a finger. I'm a money magnet. I turn money on and off like water. Whatever it is that you want to say, whatever you want your situation to be, you just have affirmations like this. Someone says, can I affirm I'm so rich? Yeah, it's part of your self-concept. But usually I also affirm that money's coming to me from everywhere or what have you, in addition to self-concept. Another person says, Flossie, I have a question. Do you think choosing an affirmation like SP is my husband will take longer to manifest than choosing something like we have a healthy relationship or we're together? I don't necessarily think that it'll take longer for the 3D to start to conform as far as forming a relationship, whether someone affirms husband or we're together or in a healthy relationship. A lot of that, I think, is your personal assumptions about that in the first place. So if you think it's going to take longer and you're focused on that, guess what? It's going to take you longer. Why? Because it's your assumption. If your assumption is, I'm going to affirm SP is my husband, and my 3D reality is going to start to conform, and of course it's going to go in a natural process where we start having a relationship, then we're in a relationship, and then SP proposes, and then we get married, then that's what it's going to appear to you. It's not like when we're affirming something, our manifestations can come in all at once depending on what our assumption is. But I think when it comes to something like marriage or whatnot, we expect there to be some sort of a process. A lot of us don't expect to wake up in a reality where we're married to somebody and we don't know that we're married. Or a lot of people don't expect that we're going to meet somebody and then be married the next day. We think that there's going to be some sort of ritualistic process where we start getting to know each other, go on dates, and depending on where you are and what your cultural beliefs are, you might live together, then you might get engaged, and then you might get married. And a lot of times people see that as an enjoyable process that can take anywhere from 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, and they're okay with that. So it's going to be dependent on what you think about affirming SP as my husband versus we're, in a relationship. I don't think affirming he's your husband slows it down. I don't think that it slows down the process. I think you're still going to manifest and your 3D reality is going to conform. It's like, what are you the most comfortable with affirming? And what do these affirmations already imply to you? And then someone else asks, how many affirmations can I have per topic? How many are you comfortable with? On the whole, I say somewhere between 3 to 7, depending on the topic. Most people have between 2 and 4 or, 3 to 5. I say, how many feels like too many to you? What is too overwhelming to you? Is there a more succinct way that you can affirm? Are your affirmations just redundant and replying this and over saying the same thing? Which I think I have an example in here of someone who's basically just saying the same thing in all their affirmations that I'll read shortly. But however many you have, at the end of the day is up to you as the manifestor, what feels comfortable to you. But a lot of people end up with 3 to 5, to just in general. What's a good affirmation for age revision? You can say, why was I so lucky to be born in such and such year? Because that would imply how old you are, and it wouldn't be a weird thing to say. Or why am I so happy that I was born the same year that such and such movie came out? And you can, cite a movie that came out the year that you would have wanted to be born. Or, you could say, why do I love being, 23 years old so much? Whatever that it is, it's up to you. But those are the type of things that I would suggest. Someone else asked, can someone help me with SP affirmations? Well, in general, you want to affirm something for their emotion, something for, either step, end goal, or both, and whatever the thorn in your side is. I'll just link the video that I have here up in this corner about, manifesting your OG SP or someone new, because I'm not going to go over all the different types of things that you could affirm for a specific person because it can be pretty lengthy, but I did make a long video on it and I'll just link that. Someone else said, I prefer to visualize. It helps me to feel emotions quickly, but I think, can I imagine, for example, him saying you're the only one for me? Because some situations, I don't know how to imagine a situation like this. Can I visualize him say what I want in a relationship? So you have to keep in mind that a lot of people will suggest if you're doing a visualization that you create the same scene that you're looping over and over again that's short, because you don't want to give your mind time to wander. You don't want to give your mind time to try to make a reunion scene or control the how. You just want to have something that implies you're together, implies you've been together for a while, and where they're saying something that you want to say. So, you could see yourself facing him at a dinner table, like at a fancy restaurant. You could see yourself know that you're sitting in a beach chair and you look over an SP sitting beside you, and he could just say, I'm so happy we've been together for 2 years now. I've always known you're the only one for me, or that you're the one for me. And only that phrase, if it's not triggering to you. If there's a third party and you saying, you're the only one for me is triggering to you and it's making you think of a third party, I wouldn't personally use that. But you could have a very short scene where, you're seeing yourself in SP somewhere, or maybe you're hearing him on the phone and he's telling you how much he loves you, how he's so happy to be celebrating XYZ number of years with you, and that you're the love of his life, or, whatever it is that you want to hear him say. Anyhow, and don't forget, you don't have to be experiencing any emotion when you're affirming and persisting. It's because your emotion isn't what's going to manifest, it's your dominant thoughts. So don't get caught up in, that you need to feel it real or anything like that, because you don't. Someone else said, my affirmations for appearance changes, my body is thick and I have gorgeous fair skin. I can definitely picture myself standing and looking down and seeing my desired body. Before I was using, I have huge boobs and a huge butt and have beautiful fair skin. Are these the way I should have my affirmations? Well, the first set that you said, where you can picture yourself standing there looking down and seeing your desired body by saying your body's thick and I have gorgeous fair skin, there's nothing wrong with that. You're stating it as if you have it. It's something that apparently seems natural to you and that you're able to see yourself looking that way. If that works for you, there really isn't a need to change it. I would just continue with it. So the next couple of questions have to do with some confusion that people are having because they feel like the coach that I coach for, Sammy Ingram, and I say something a little bit different. And Sammy has said before, and I'm sure if asked, she would say again, her coaches don't necessarily share the exact same philosophy 100% as her as far as how we teach people. A lot of our teachings are very similar and a lot of the teachings are the same. We're not into a bunch of woo-woo bullshit. We come to the table with different thoughts, life experiences, and all of that business. And so the way that Sammy says to do things might not always be the same way I say to do something. And that doesn't mean that either one of us are incorrect. It's just that we have a different mindset and different assumptions about things. So one person says, this is a little confusing because Sammy had a video that was how to get rid of a 3P. And the challenge was to use the affirmation, I'm the only one they love. I'm the only one they want to be with. And that was supposed to remove the third party. So I guess that wouldn't work then. So someone else made a comment about that. And then the original poster said, I don't have a 3P. I was just trying to say that Flossie's statement is contradicting to what Sammy's teaching, and it can be confusing to people. So again, Sammy and I are two different people, and we have two different ideas about things. If someone's saying, I'm the only one they love and the only one they want to be with, and, that is, thought of that it could get rid of a third party, it depends what that phrase means to the person that's using it. A lot of the people that I've worked with, when they've tried to use a phrase about the only one they love or the only one they want to be with, it makes them constantly think of a third party. And if that is the case, that isn't necessarily as effective to that person. And so I don't necessarily recommend that affirmation personally. I'm not saying that it wouldn't work. I'm not saying that it doesn't have any validity. I'm just saying that I have a different perspective on it. And I try to keep my clients focused on themselves versus necessarily a third party at all, which is something Sammy also says to do in general. Like, affirm for yourself, affirm for your relationship. Don't affirm for the third party. You want to put the focus on you and your relationship, because if there's a third party, they're going to move. So we, definitely agree in those things. When I have someone with a third party, I tell them to use a couple tools of the FU letter and command letter in order to basically tell that person that they've moved on and then they're out of your reality. And then I have people affirm for their relationship, but more SP loves being my boyfriend, partner, significant other, or is so happy we're in a relationship, because that would imply that they want to be with you and that they're doing everything to make you feel secure, or that you feel so secure in the relationship, because you're not going to feel secure if there's a third party around. And so you also have to keep in mind that if for you, being in a relationship would imply to you that there is no third party, that for you, there isn't going to be a third party being in a relationship with them, because you wouldn't consider being in a relationship with someone if a third party exists. So you have to think about what the affirmations imply to you, if they're triggering to you or not. Could it work to say, I'm the only one they love and I'm the only one they want to be with, and have the third party go away? It could, because if they are the only one if you are the only one they're willing to love and the only one that they want to be with, they're not going to want to be with anyone else. They're not going to want to love anybody else. And so naturally, if that were to be true, that means the other person would go away, because they wouldn't have the desire to be with that other person. But what I'm saying is quite often people find those type of affirmations too triggering. And I like to affirm something that is a little bit more solid, like being in the relationship, because being in a relationship is being in a relationship. You can, somebody can want to be in a relationship all day long. It doesn't mean they're doing anything about it. They can be ready. They can be wanting it. That to me doesn't mean that they're actually doing it, which is why I actually say have affirmations that imply you're together. Someone said, with this video, I got confused and I don't know if my affirmations are working. Do you feel like they're working? Do you feel like your dominant mindset's changing? What are your thoughts about your specific person now, if that's what you're manifesting? What were your thoughts when you were in the beginning of your journey about the money, the job, the relationship, or whatever it is that you're manifesting compared to now? Are you still overall expecting the same BS in the 3D, or is your mindset changing? Do your affirmations imply that you have what you want at all? So if you're confused about your affirmations and you don't know if they're working, evaluate your affirmations and say, what does this really mean? You should be able to look at the sentence that you're affirming and tell yourself what this means. You should understand what your affirmation means to you. Look at it. Does it mean you have what you want? If it doesn't, I would scrap it and I would have an affirmation that did imply I have what I wanted. Another question that was asked that also had to do with Sammy was, Happy New Year. What do you think of the statement, they will any moment now? Sammy Ingram said this. So when I've heard Sammy talk like that before, and I'm not sure if this exact video, because I've seen some older ones where Sammy has used phrases similar to that. There's sometimes that there's affirmations been made with it, and then there's sometimes when it's been used more for thought flipping or inner conversation. Like when people are looking for their shit, then it's like, oh, I have it now. Oh, it's, going to be here any second now. It's happening any moment now. To keep the person's mind focused that the 3D reality is conforming. I don't think that there's necessarily anything wrong with, as part of inner conversation or thought flipping, to tell yourself that it's happening any second now, any moment now, that it's happening now, as long as you're recognizing that your 3D reality is conforming, that it could conform any second now, but in your mind, you're still staying focused on having what you want. Because there is a difference in between affirming as if you have what you want and choosing to affirm that way, and then, or affirming that you don't have it. So I'm trying not to be confusing here. I think it's fine with thought flipping or whatever to say, I'm going to have XYZ any moment now, any second now, or that it's happening now when I'm looking at the 3D, but I'm also choosing to affirm as if I have it when I'm actually doing the affirming. Because you have to keep in mind what affirming is. It's the mental conditioning that you're doing to change your dominant mindset so that your 3D reality can conform. There are times that we recognize in the 3D that we don't have what we want. Why? Because we're living in the 3D. And it's okay to be like, no, this is happening any second now. this is what's going to happen any second now. You know, SP is asking me out any second now, period. Or I'm going to have the money any second now. Sometimes people will, in their affirmation, say, I'm receiving money right now. Because instead of saying I received the money, they feel better to say that they're receiving it right now. And it's okay because it's like a present tense thing. It makes you think that like it's happening now. So I think overall that those are okay because any moment now, right now, like that implies it's immediate. That doesn't imply that there's a wait or that it's going to take forever. And it's all what it implies to you. So those type of statements imply to me that it's like imminent, like it is happening, it is imminent, not this is weeks, months, years out. Last one thing that I wanted to bring up was someone's listed out their affirmations and they said, he loves me, he's head over heels in love with me, he only wants me, I'm everything for him, I'm the love of his life, he needs me, he's obsessed with me. All I heard in that was a bunch of different SP emotions, and that was redundant. Now, you can use that for thought flipping, you could use that for some inner conversations, but that would not be the affirmations I would have in my routine. All those things basically all imply the same thing at different levels. He loves me is the same as I'm the love of his life, that I'm everything for him, because typically if you're in love with somebody or you're the love of their life, you would be their everything. He's head over heels in love with me also means the same thing. He only wants me. That's a little bit less. That's less of an emotion, because I can want somebody doesn't mean I'm madly in love with them. Like that's less. The only wants me could remind you of a third party, possibly. I don't know. That's up to you. And saying that he needs me, well, I mean, if you're the love of someone's life, it's going to be implied that they need you, just like it would be implied that he would likely only want you. But, you know, I could need somebody. I need the handyman to come fix something at my house. Not madly in love with the handyman. Give two shits about the handyman. Of course, I wish him well. I don't wish him ill will. I need the handyman. I want the handyman to come over and fix something. Do you see what I'm saying? So I don't see any end goal in there. I don't see any step in there. You're just affirming for a bunch of a person's emotion. And I know that I can think of plenty of people. I've had plenty of clients who've told me, my SP's madly in love with me. They're in love with me. Why aren't you together? Because they're too stubborn to be with me. They're not ready to commit to me. They're still playing the field, but they love me. So somebody can love you all day long doesn't mean they're acting on it. The more in love they are, I think the harder that it is for people not to act. But at the same time, I think when you're just affirming for somebody's emotion, that does not necessarily imply that you have what you want at the end of the day. At least it doesn't to me. You have to keep in mind that it's what the affirmations imply to you. I'm in my 5th year of coaching for Sammy Ingram, and I've coached a lot of people. In between the original VIP groups and my own personal clients, and then all the group coaching classes, boot camps, and everything that I've ever done, whether it be by myself or with another coach like Nikki. And then, also have another VIP group that Nikki and I have. And I would say in between all those groups, and all my own personal coaching that I've coached thousands of people. I think I've probably coached about 1,000 people just one-on-one by itself in the 5 years that I've been coaching. But, I see a lot of stuff, and I've gotten a sense of what things tend to imply to people. And a lot of times when people come to me and they're not getting what they want, I would say a good 50% of the time they're affirming things that literally don't imply that they're together. I see that so frequently that I'm almost always helping people to change affirmations, because either it doesn't get to the core cause of their issues, or it's not implying that they have what they want. And then a lot of the rest of it is they're not affirming enough, and or their mental diet is in the trash, because they'll be affirming for an hour total a day. Maybe some people are like 15 minutes a day. I've talked to people who don't affirm at all because they don't think it's necessary, even though their 3D sucks, their mindset sucks. They just think they're going to sit in the chair and it's just going to show up without them doing any mental work. And when I hear those type of things, I just want to hear the crickets playing, because I'm just sitting there not almost even sure what to say. But having said all that, it can be mental diet for why people don't have what they want, because they'll affirm and then they spend all day long thinking negative stuff. But quite often, they are being significantly impacted by having affirmations that are too much focused on SP is, ready or wanting, but they don't actually affirm that they have what they want, or their affirmations are confusing and it's not clearly indicating what they have, what they want. I've actually asked clients in phone calls, what does that affirmation mean to you? And they couldn't tell me what it meant. If you cannot figure out for yourself what your own affirmation means or implies to you, then it's not working for you. And I would say to pick something else that does imply that you have what you want. So get clear on what you want. What do you actually want? What type of money do you want to have? What type of job do you want to have? What do you want with your SP? What do you want to be going on there? And then create an affirmation that means to you that you have it, that you already have it, period. Period. Some people are like, money wants me. Okay, money can want you all day long, but I would have an affirmation about the money that indicated that I had the money. Not that the money wants me. Oh yeah, that's fine and dandy. Money loves it when I spend it. So do all the businesses. But that doesn't imply that I have a ton of money. So make sure that you're affirming things that just imply that you have what you want. So I've got to edit this video. I've got to edit so much out of this video that it's ridiculous, because right now I'm at 41 minutes and it's probably going to be cut down to 20 or maybe 25. But I'm hoping that by trying to go through and answer these questions one by one, that it's lit a light bulb for some of you to have a deeper understanding of, like, what am I doing with this affirmation? Does this affirmation really work for me? Does it imply that I have what I want? Is it overly triggering to me because it's just making me think of the old story? All those type of things just need to go in the trash can, and you just need to have some affirmations that will imply to you that you have what you want, period. At the end of the day, just affirm things that imply that you have what you want. And if you hear a great coach that resonates with you, and some of their opinions are slightly different, that's okay. You listen to them and see if what they say makes the most sense to you, because people have different ways of thinking about manifestation to a certain extent. There's going to be a little bit of difference of thinking because we're all different people and we all have different things that we came to the table with in the first place. That doesn't mean that I'm necessarily more correct than another person, but it could just be a different way of explaining things or understanding things. I'm a go straight to the end person, or if I'm doing steps, I'm still doing steps that would imply that I have what I want. I've really never been in the boat of, that they're ready or whatever. I've always just been like, I'm rich as fuck with millions of dollars. I've got this much money. Money's always coming to me from all directions. I always have millions of dollars in the bank no matter what. Or I get paid a ton of money doing what I love, or I get tons of money without lifting a finger. Like, I've always had affirmations that imply that I've had what I've wanted, which has probably been a reason for a lot of my success, because I affirm as if I already have it and it's already mine and it belongs to me. And as far as I'm concerned, it does. So there you go. I'm hoping that this cleared a bunch of shit up. Anyhow, drop any comments, questions, or concerns below, because you know that I like to read through them. Even if it takes me a few minutes. And as usual, I'll talk to you later. Bye.